Hey, how's it going, everyone? Happy New Year. This is Jasper from Nomo Codes here, and this is the first video of my No Code Essential series. And in this series, I'll be going through a list of essential concepts that are commonly used when building web application with no-code tools. And these concepts are transferable regardless of what no-code tools or stacks that you're currently using. In my opinion, these concepts are definitely not required to start, but if you take the time to learn them today, they can help a ton later on and speed up your learning process when you're learning other tools, because all no-code tools essentially apply the same concepts under the hood. So in this series, I'll be focusing more on concepts revolving around the backend first. For those who do not know, web application is made of two major parts. The front end, which handles how your application is visually structured and styled, and also how your users are going to interact with your application. And the backend, which is your database, and as well as backend logics that feed your content, your data dynamically to the front end of your application for your user to interact with and see. Backend would be the focus first because essentially the database and the backend logics are what make your website and application. Without backend, they're just websites. But I will definitely include front-end concepts in later videos. And the concepts we are going to talk about today are first, a quick look at database, what database is. So we're all on the same page of the terminology that I'll be referring to a lot throughout this whole series and video. And the second concept we're going through today, it's CRUD, C-R-U-D. So let's get started. So for database, three commonly used terms are records, fields, and tables. A database can be visually represented by a table or multiple tables. In each table, you have many rows, and they are called records. Records within the same table will share the same attributes, or commonly known as fields. And the fields are the columns on the data table. So records are the rows, and fields are the columns. A quick example is a user table, which is the most common table within a database of a web application. A user table typically will have fields such as username, email, password, full name, profile picture, and date of birth. These fields are shared attributes within our table, and they are laid out in the columns. Within this user table, each row will represent one unique user who signed up to your application. So now you know what tables, records, and fields are, and then what they all look like visually in the table, and also what they mean in a database. Now let's move on to our second topic of this video, CRUD, C-R-U-D. CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. They are the four basic building blocks of the backend functionalities of your web application. First up, C for create. The create function allows users to create a new row of record in a data table. For example, when a user first signs up to your application, once they hit the sign up button on the backend, you are essentially creating a new row in your user data table. And then you would then fill up the fields. For example, their full name, date of birth, their email, password. You will fill them up accordingly with their respective inputs on the sign up form. Basically, anything that adds an extra row of data, a data record in your database, is performing this create function. Second one, R, stands for read. The read function is like a search function. It allows users to search and retrieve specific records in the table and read their values and then feed it back to a user to see. For example, let's say you are on Instagram and you search for a username. That is essentially performing a read function where Instagram will read the database and filter out users with your search input and then present users who match your search request. The third one, U, it stands for update. The update function is used to modify existing record in the database. The keyword here is existing. Performing an update function does not create nor remove data records in the table. For example, let's say a user forgot to add their date of birth when they first signed up, and now they would like to add it. Even though on paper, we're actually adding extra information to your data record, but because we're not actually creating a new role, a new record, we're simply just adding new info to a previously empty field on that user's role of record. So because we're not creating new role, this is not considered a create function, but an update function. So the rule of thumb really is that if you're adding information or removing information to your database, but if there is no new record of data record created, nor data record removed, it is not create or delete, but an update function. The last concept is D for delete. The delete function allows users to remove records from a database that usually is no longer needed. This is a very straightforward one, opposite to creating a new row of data. This is delete row or rows of data records in your table. And there you have it. You now understand the basics of a database and also the essential backend functions that you could perform on the backend of your application. By understanding these concepts, it gives you a better understanding of how web applications work on the backend, and you realize that web applications are essentially built with many combinations of these essential building blocks. So yeah, hope this video helped. Please share this video to your no-code fellows or communities, and subscribe to my channel for more. Until next time, ciao.